G'day everyone, welcome back to the ranch. I'm going to take a quick 30 seconds of your time and explain to you one little thing that's going to change. We are changing the name of the channel. Really, Built by Ben was great, but it's not unique, and yes, I'm going to be building this stuff, but I want to make it more about the transformation of the place. So we had to come up with a name for the place, and in some kind of blend of Australian and American flavor we've got going on, we are going to call it Ridgy-Didge Ranch, which is kind of meaning, in Australia, it's a colloquialism from Australia, Ridgy-Didge, meaning good, honest, true, and yeah, I felt it was fitting for what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to accomplish. So yeah, let's start talking about those numbers, but yeah, this is Ridgy-Didge Ranch. I'm out here to finish up this solar power system, and I thought I'd address some quick questions and stuff from the other videos I've done, mainly relating to this shed, and we're going to talk cost. So how much did it cost to build this 380 square foot shed? The proviso is I bought all these materials in March 2022, which seems, at least so far, to have been about the worst time in history to try and buy some building materials. Anyway, I'll talk about what that would cost now if you were to buy it. But let's talk about what I paid. So starting with the framing, this is 2x6 framing. These are 16-foot long members, and they are untreated up top and they're treated down below. We've also got 2x4s for blocking the end walls. And we've also got 4x6 timbers that this is all sitting on. All that together, and I'm rounding to the nearest 100 for pretty much all of these things, we're looking at $1,500. So let's start that there. Plywood. The sheathing on the exterior is 3/8, and then we've also got 3/4 tongue and groove in the floor, and that came out to be $1,400. The roof, so that is our steel roof, again 16-foot long panels. I needed 14 of those, and then the ridge cap, some of the trim stuff, and I'm including in that also the house wrap, and the furring strips, and all that came out to be $1,100. The footers, they are concrete. They're a mix of a concrete pad, concrete blocks. They're filled with concrete, and there's rebar running through all of it, which then I welded on some bolts that screw down onto those timbers, and all of that together, $150. So definitely one of the cheapest parts, considering how important it is. Next is the windows. These are pretty cheap windows, I'll be honest with you. They're just a utility slider in the bottom, and then these two sash windows in the top. We're looking at $100 for those. I think it was probably a little more than that, but yeah, I rounded to 100. The siding. Now, the siding is kind of interesting. This is kind of like a tongue and groove, or sorry, I should say shiplap, but it's something that I made myself. So I took cedar dog ear fence posts that are 5.5 inches wide and 6 feet long, cut off the dog ears and used a router to put the shiplap edge in, and went ahead and stuck them up. And that worked out to be 80 cents a square foot, whereas if I was looking at legit cedar siding or something, I could basically multiply that by 10 for our price per square foot. So that cost $150, and just one of the biggest kind of hacks. The thing that saved me the most money overall in this build was probably doing that siding myself. Other than that, you've got things that you never really thought of when you were kind of planning it, or just stuff that are kind of consumables. So things like the stain, any little tools or bits, screws, nails, things like the chain to stop the door from opening too far. I mean, stuff you didn't really even think of. That stuff, $500, and again, nearest 100. So overall, if you've already been adding that up, $4,900. So that's not too bad. If we compared that to what I could buy with $5,000 if I wanted something prefab that comes out on the back of a truck and they use their little crane and drop it in place, I would not be getting anywhere near the square footage of this. Probably wouldn't even be getting half the square footage. So I also wanted to use this as a bit of a test bed. the house is going to be a double A-frame, so a lot of this stuff is kind of similar. I've learned some things that I liked about how I put this together and things that I would do differently. And so that is invaluable, really. Like, how do you put a price on knowing how to not make mistakes when you're building your house? So it's definitely, even if I could get a prefab for this same price, I probably wouldn't have done it. I really wanted to kind of test some stuff. And then besides that, what would it cost if I was to build it now, only a few months later? It's the price of lumber, plywood, a lot of these consumables. I think concrete's gone up a little, but everything else has pretty much come down. I totaled that out to be recently, just quick look, $3,500. So yeah, a considerable saving over what I paid. But again, there's never really like a right time if you're going to hold off building something just because you're waiting for prices to come down. I mean, if you're not desperate, then sure, do that. But I really want to keep the ball rolling. I really want to get stuck into this house build. And yeah, we're just waiting on like the backhoe that I bought and some permitting stuff. And then we're pretty much good to roll on that. So I just wanted to get this going, get a shed built, get a power setup coming in. So power's pretty much done now. Water will need a little bit of work, but the infrastructure is all there. And then septic is going to be one of the things I need permitting for so that we can start building the house. And yeah, then we're pretty much got a utility set. All you have to do is build something like this, just a little bigger, and we've got a place to live. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. $1,400 for this, $3,500 if you build it now. Estimating the first part of the house, 600 square feet, to cost between 10 and 20 grand. It's a pretty wide range, but I mean, it's a volatile market right now. So the sooner we can start building that, the better. And hopefully that's coming along in the next month or two. So yeah, I'll catch you then. Bye.